Hello everybody, Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. We've got nearly 1,100 of these available for your listening pleasure. We continue to add as often as we can. My schedule isn't as conducive as I would like it to be. Hopefully that changes in the new year, but more changes are coming for me than I imagined. So who knows where that'll be, but we try to update as often as we can. If you are looking for coaching in the new year, life, relationship, business, or at any other point, would love to be of service to you at PO Perception on Twitter or in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either one can lead you in the direction you need to go, and would love to be helpful where we can. Needless to say, strong mental health. What are some signs of a person with strong mental health? That's kind of what we're going to talk about today. The first is kind of taming the inner critic. Look, we all have an inner critic. We all would rather be less critical of ourselves, and we all would rather have some level of a softer internal tone. And a person who is more successful than average at managing their mental health begins to understand the value of connecting with that idea that the inner critic needs to be as silent as possible more consistently, in a real way, so that a person can make intelligent decisions, so the person doesn't feel judged, so the person can portray themselves properly. It doesn't mean that the critic is not there. It just means putting it in the right context, in the right place, knowing that you're going to have the inner voice, but being able to tame it, manage it, kind of work through it is super, super valuable. The next thing is being real with oneself. So the reality of situations, meaning having a neutral position when making decisions and then moving into positive or negative as seen fit. Realistic expectations is that all things are possible, and going from there in the direction of what a likely outcome is. So having a realistic thing that leans positive but isn't overly positive. Overt faked positivity doesn't get us anywhere, because obviously we are set up for a bigger crash when we do crash. Overt constant negativity doesn't get us anywhere, because who wants to be around that, including ourselves in our own heads. Next thing there to look at is kind of looking at comparison. So avoiding comparison, the illusion of competition, is probably one of the top 2 to 3 most singularly important things a person can do at any given moment. Understanding that the only competition we should have is the best version of ourselves, rather than competing with others. Because here's the thing, the majority of people that you're competing with are thinking and concerned about and worried about what you're thinking of them. Thereby, you're taking time, effort, and energy away from your own level of productivity, your own level of focus, your own level of positivity, thereby wasting a bunch of energy, time, and whatever. The next thing there is comparison. So finding a way to compare within yourself where your own boundaries are and where your strengths and weaknesses lie can be helpful. So internal comparison can be helpful as a marker and a measure for success or productivity or positivity or whatever. The next thing is knowing where your boundaries are as far as saying no. Obviously, we all want to be liked. We all want to be wanted. We all want to be needed. We all want to be, happy, healthy, and all that stuff. But you need to do it within reason and within balance. And so, knowing when you need to say no, knowing when you're overextended, knowing when a person's taking you for granted, knowing when a person is uncomfortable with something and they need help, knowing where your personal boundaries are in terms of overextension of emotion. When you don't know yourself well enough to know where you are in relation to something, it's easier for other people to take advantage of you. And honestly, the person who wants to take advantage or is prone to take advantage doesn't really care whether or not you believe that it's a good idea or bad idea. They believe that they know that you should allow them to take advantage, because at the end of the day, they have rationalizations in their own mind as to why that's acceptable behavior. Next thing is the willingness to confront fear. Confront doesn't mean be foolish about. So The active a fool is a person who continues to do the same thing without accepting that people can change and people may not always be honest. But confronting fear is understanding that fear is an emotion that, in many cases, not all, but in many cases, we've outgrown because fear originally was a self protective mechanism. And there are certain things, such as stage fright or, getting up in front of a group of people or um, I'm afraid of. I personally am afraid of spiders, but in an emergency situation could easily conquer it. But regardless, I hope this is helpful. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.